What's up? This is Brandon from Bleeding Through. You're listening to Metal Teddy Bear Experience with Chris.
Welcome back to the Metal Teddy Bear Experience here on 90.3 WMSC Upper Montclair. This is your host, Chris, and we are at the House of Independence right now with Bleeding Through. I'm talking to Brandan Schieppati.
Yeah.
What's up, man? How you doing?
I'm doing well. Why is it called the Metal Teddy Bear Experience?
So, my show's name, the Metal Teddy Bear Experience, because I used to have really long hair, like halfway down my back, and I had a really big beard.
Okay.
And that was like, everyone called me, because I'm short too, so they used to call me like the little teddy bear, and I like metal, so that was kind of like a little nickname I had going on. So I just kind of stuck, and then people actually remember it too.
That's cool.
Like Randy from Lamb of God actually remembered it, which is really, really cool.
Because he probably wishes he was a metal teddy bear.
It was funny when he asked, he's like, is there cuddling involved? I was like, no, unless you want to, Randy, unless you want to. But no.
Randall.
But yeah, that's my show name. And we're actually
awesome.
from Montclair State,
Cool.
Right here in New Jersey. So it's a pleasure to be talking to you, man.
Nice, man. Yeah, it's cool, dude.
It's great to have you back on the East Coast.
Yep. It's been a very, very, very long time, and I'm glad to be back.
Because you played your farewell show at 2013 Starland Ballroom.
Yes, we did.
I was so excited for that. Well, bummed, but so
Yeah.
excited for that at the same time.
That was one of the better shows on that tour too, man. Like Jersey's always been a really cool place. We've always been received really well here, and just we've had like kind of diehards, and it's really cool like to be able to come back and do these shows. And like Brooklyn last night was awesome. That venue was awesome that we played, the Kingsland. Like it was just small and intimate and loud and just like belligerent. I'm like, it was just great.
It blows my mind that because you said yesterday you never played Brooklyn before, and we talked about this off air before. It just blows my mind because I feel like that's such a gateway place for bands, but maybe not back then.
Yeah, it was so weird. And you know what it was? I think back then when Bleeding Through was kind of, doing the more like full-time deal, that was like the early 2000s to like about 2008, or let's just say like the 2000s, 2010. Like Manhattan, all those clubs had it, you know what I mean? Like they had all those shows, and that's kind of when our type of music drew more people, you know what I mean? Like, all these bands, like shows were bigger back then, that's just the way they were. So those Manhattan clubs would book them and they'd pack out. And it was kind of cool to see like last night I was like, you know what, like all the venues in Brooklyn, like St. Vitus and that, and the Kingsland. And then someone was telling me about another place that Harm's Way played last night at the, like, as well.
Oh, I know what you're talking about.
In Brooklyn. And I'm like, that's crazy. Like us and Harm's Way at the same night in Brooklyn. Like that's cool, but it's just kind of cool. It just seems like it's a very like roots driven, very underground, area of New York where bands can kind of like relax and just play good old fashioned like aggressive shows. The thing with Manhattan, there's so much pressure to perform. Oh, the industry's going to be there and this and that. And it's like in Brooklyn, it's like, the industry's always too cool to get on a train and go across the river, you know what I mean? So
yeah, I totally hear that.
Yeah.
Because I feel like so many shows I go to like PlayStation Theater.
Yeah.
I don't know if you've been there, but up there is all label people. You see them all just watching over the band, and I was thinking that too. I was like, this is kind of intimidating right now.
It's weird, and like we never really headlined New York City too much in our career. We've been there a lot.
Yeah.
But I think we maybe headlined like 4 or 5 shows, and they were always good. But it was just like that last night was just cool. It just felt good.
Oh yeah,
it just felt good.
Everyone at the show last night was definitely a diehard.
Oh yeah, and that's all that are coming to these shows, and that's really cool. That's what we want.
So how is it? Like you guys left in 2013, now you're back. How has it impacted the band? Have you seen like streams go up, album sales, anything like that?
Well, yeah. Well, album sales are completely down. They were down in 2013, but now I mean the whole space of music and the way people listen to things, and I'm guilty of it too, is streaming.
Yeah.
It's like, it's kind of just like one of those things where I don't know if it's a good thing or a bad thing. I feel like it's so easy to discover new music, which is awesome, and all these bands are getting like streams and plays, and all these bands that would never even have a chance are getting heard, and it's amazing. But it's almost like it's creating such an oversaturation of every type of music. So and you wouldn't think that because you could hear so much music easier that shows would suffer, but it's making shows suffer because it's so spread out now. Yeah. And there's only people are leaving their house less and less these days anyway, as it is. So then you just put more and more music in front of them, and then they have to decide more and more, and people have to decide more and more. It's like I said, like kind of goes full circle back to what I was saying. Like when in Brooklyn, there was us and Harm's Way at the same night. Like, come on, really? Like 5 years ago, we would have just played the same show.
Yeah.
But now it's like, you'd think that all these bands would be fine together, but it's 2 shows with different tastes. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I feel like that happened the other night where it was Kill Switch and some other bands. I forgot. There was like 3 shows I wanted to go to, all on the same night.
Yeah.
But in different areas, like one Jersey, one Brooklyn, one in the city.
Yeah.
And you just have to pick and choose at that point.
Yeah, and it sucks. I mean, it's cool because bands have the opportunity to like tour and like make a living and share their music with people. But at the same time, like, man, it just makes it like it's harder. It's harder for everybody. It is.
Well, I know a lot of people aren't relying on their bands to make money anymore.
No, they aren't.
So they do other things as well. Like, I know Matt Halper in the Periphery did like his whole like drum thing. Like he did clinics and stuff like that. He does his whole business. I know a lot of people, the band Source, he has his own like, forgot the name of it. Anyway, he has his own facility and stuff.
Yeah.
So you have your own gym.
Yep.
Do you think that will give you the opportunity to like tour more, play more shows?
It allows me. It'll allow me to like play more shows coming up and stuff like that. But we all have kind of moved on and have done other things and established more of roots at home, you know. And so like playing shows is always going to be a little bit of a challenge, but we're always going to make like the best attempt. As long as we plan it, we could do it. We are all independently like employed, you know, so we're all like our own bosses, and it's just like it just makes for some interesting like shows and some interesting like travel, like having to get like fill-ins once in a while, but it's doable.
I was actually just talking to Ryan because he played with Light the Torch back at
hell
St.
yeah,
Vitus.
dude. Yeah.
He was really cool dude, and I was like, dude, I'm so pumped that you guys are going to come in.
He's like, I'm not playing.
Yeah, I was like, what?
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
But I mean, that was kind of said when we first came back and did it. And like, listen, like people have moved on, so whatever you can do, you can do.
Mm-hmm.
And it's kind of like, it almost kind of feels like it, as long as like me and Marta and Derek are available to do it, we have awesome fill-ins. You know what I mean? And you know,
I was so surprised when you got Patrick and all
people
them.
from other bands and stuff.
I was like, what?
Well, that's one thing that's kind of cool is like you meet other bands, you become friends with all these people that are still like in the music industry and stuff, and it's kind of cool that you get to like guitar player for Demon Hunter jam with this night. You know what I mean? And sometimes it's cool for like, you know, fans of a lot of bands and fans of bands to like be like, dude, like I saw Bleeding Through play with like the guitar player for Demon Hunter. Like that's pretty cool. You know what I mean?
Because I was like, I recognize you.
Yeah.
How cool is it that Tim was at the show? Tim from Within the Ruins.
What's that? Oh, I know. Singing in the front row.
Dude, how cool is that?
I'm like, I put the mic in his face and I was like, just like, and he started singing and I'm like, oh yeah, what's up, bro?
Yeah. I was like, dude, this is awesome right now. Tim, well, he's not within the
not
Ruins
anymore, but his voice is brutal.
Yeah, dude, that was a really cool show last night.
Yep.
So do you have the itch to make more music? I know you do like the Iron Sun.
Yeah.
Actually, I want to ask you about Sufferwell as well.
Sufferwell. Do you want to know what happened to it?
Yeah.
Okay, so I'll tell you what happened to it.
Because you had that Treachery. I was like, that sounds amazing.
I loved Sufferwell. Sufferwell was like, I thought, a rad band. A couple things happened. Mick and I recorded the record, and Mick is the person that I technically do the Iron Sun with, and you know he does Bleeding Through records and all, like he's the producer of Bleeding Through and stuff like that, and one of my best friends. We did Sufferwell. 2 things. We wrote this record and we kind of pigeonholed ourselves with a lineup, and our lineup was just not good. Like our drummer wasn't good, our bass player wasn't good, our other guitar player wasn't good, and we played a few shows and it just wasn't good.
You mean talent-wise?
Yeah, it didn't translate live, and we're kind of like what do we do? So then the record was going to come out, and Mick and I were kind of like saying like to ourselves like let's put together a better lineup. You know what I mean? And so we did, and we got some heavy hitters to play, and we like rehearse and stuff. I'm like, okay, this is sick. Let's do this, right? And Century Media was supposed to put it out. And so it was supposed to come out, I think it was like February, let's just say 12th, whatever year it came out. And they decided to pull it and shelve it until we committed to at least 2 months of touring. And I'm like, dude, like, I have Bleeding Through, like, Mick has this band, and everybody else in my band has other bands. Like, this is a very project-y, we'll play shows whenever we can play. And Century Media said, no, we're not going to release it until you commit to tours. And so then I was just like, we'll leak it. And we leaked it. And then they've sent me an email saying you need to try to take down all the streams and leaks and this and that. And I said, sue me.
Really?
Yeah. They never sued me.
And
they actually just tried to sign Bleeding Through. So
Really?
it's not like they care.
Oh, wow. I never knew any of
I
that.
think that Suffer Well record is
Yeah.
the best record that never happened.
Yeah, it's because I was
It's
trying to find like
sick.
because you can't buy the album, right?
Nope.
Or download it or
No,
anything?
you could find it like on Spotify, I believe.
I mean, I took it from YouTube.
Yeah, you can do that too.
I did that. That's how I got it. But I was trying to look for an actual, because I actually like having physical
Getting an
copies.
actual copy is impossible. They never made an actual copy.
Ah, okay.
Never. And then the Iron Sun is kind of a continuation off of Suffer Well. We use some of the Suffer Well songs.
Yeah, so,
And
yeah.
and we really did that record to kind of like celebrate that band and moving on from that band. But the next kind of Iron Sun stuff is going to be kind of different. It's
Okay.
going to be more progressive, a little bit. Like I want to play guitar more again.
I was
and,
actually
like,
gonna
and I
ask
want
you
to play
about
guitar
that.
live again. So like
Yeah.
when we start playing shows with that, I'll play guitar and stuff like that. Yeah.
So, because I remember you said before you were working on Bleed Through stuff, you were working on other work.
Yeah.
And then that kind of inspired you to do Bleeding Through.
Yeah, like I did. I
Was that the Iron Sun?
No, I played guitar. The new Bleeding Through record.
Yeah.
Yeah, not necessarily that, but it was more like, I was in my studio and we were kind of just working on stuff, and I wrote a song, and I'm just like, you know what, this kind of sounds like a Bleeding Through song, and it like made me really happy. And then I was kind of like, all right, let's do this, right? Like, let's do a record. Sent it to the people in the band, and we didn't even put it on the record. It didn't even make their new record, the song that I
okay.
sent them. But they were like,
Is that
yeah,
like
let's
a
do it.
B-side or something?
Yeah, we have a lot of B-sides. So, and really, it was just like things like I went and saw our friend's band Darkest Hour in L.A., and they played the show at this place called the Regent, and the vibe was so rad, and I was just inspired by it. I'm like, dude, like, I even told him after, I'm like, you guys inspired me tonight. Like, I'm gonna go to my studio at like 2 a.m. and just write music. Like, this is incredible. Like, I'm like, we've toured with Darkest Hour the most out of any band ever. It's funny. The two bands we've toured with the most, Slayer and Darkest Hour. Weird,
Really?
right? Yes. With Darkest Hour, and I'm just like, dude, I've seen you guys 200 times, maybe more, and this is the best time I've ever seen you play.
Wow.
And they're like, dude, and they even said, they're like, it's a lot more fun when you're older and you don't really like
Care.
need it. You don't
Yeah.
need it. It's more of like a want, and it's a pleasure, you know?
Have you been adding guitar tracks to like the Iron Suns at all, or?
I wrote about 60% of that Iron Sun record, and then going forward, I'll write a little bit more too. But Mick writes a lot of that.
Okay.
Is with me, and then
So I know you have Shannon Lucas on there, right?
Shannon Lucas played drums on half of it, and he's gonna, moving forward, I think Brandon right here, who's our fill-in for Bleeding Through, I think he's gonna play drums on it.
Oh,
He's
okay.
ridiculous on drums.
So he does all.
Yeah, he's ridiculous.
That
And
is
then Robert
awesome.
plays bass in the Iron Sun too.
Oh, nice man. So any plans for new Bleeding Through at all?
As of now, we're kind of just like, the focus on on this record was to play shows in the States here and there, go to Europe once, and yeah, and then we did that, and so like we'll probably set up some more shows like before the end of the year, just a couple more shows, like maybe like West Coast shows, and then I think it's time to get kind of back in the studio and start writing.
Okay.
And I want to do something a little bit different with the releases of the songs, but
How do you mean? Or you can't
you'll
say
have
it?
to see.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
I have a whole like concept behind it, so
Ooh, okay.
I'm stoked.
Yeah, looking forward to that. So also on my show, I asked 3 random silly questions.
Okay,
You
go.
ready for that?
Yes.
All right. Question number 1: what celebrity would have a candy bar, and what would it be called?
What celebrity would have a candy bar?
Yeah, it can be any celebrity. It's a tough one.
What celebrity would have a candy bar, and what would it be called? The only thing that came to what? Who?
Kanye?
Oh God.
Not really.
No, but we're saying like hypothetically. Now we're talking hypothetically. So, what current celebrity would have a candy bar, and what would it be called?
Kardashian for sure.
Payday.
Wouldn't The Rock have like a protein bar? Or maybe he already does.
I mean, The Rock has so many things.
Gronk has a protein bar.
It'd be a Kardashian thing. It'd be called like K bars, and they'd sell.
Special K with Kellogg's.
Yeah.
Oh, that's pretty good. My friends always say Tom Brady, who had like Brady Crunch,
Brady.
something like that.
You do that.
Or Bradyos or something like that. Yeah, and Devin Townsend said Oprah, and I don't remember.
he did.
He He
Of
said
course he
something
did.
crazy. I actually want to ask you.
I mean, of course, Devin. What's that?
You worked with Devin on
did on
Declaration.
Declaration.
How was that?
It was amazing. We wanted to work with him on the next record, and he just retired.
Yeah.
He started recording this band, Becoming the Archetype, after our record, and he said it was great fun, but he realized his days were numbered.
Because I got to talk to him when he came around Starland as well.
Yeah.
And he just said that he wanted to work on his own stuff, that he couldn't produce anymore.
And that's what he told us too. He's like, I just want to do my own thing, and I don't want to produce. And he did give me the best compliment that anybody that I look up to musically gave us. And he said that you're the only band I've ever recorded that matched my intensity. Wow. And I'm like, that's cool. And he's like, you guys showed up, you knew you had all your lyrics written, like everything was ready to go. He's like, you showed up and you knew your. He's like, and you're intense about it.
Yeah.
And he records really intense too. Like he's a funny guy.
Yes.
But when he's in his element, like working, like dude, he is just like laser focused, dude.
Does he push because he's a vocalist and all? Did he really push you vocally?
You know what? Man, I'm gonna sound like such an arrogant right now. He honestly was just like, you know what, your vocals are. You don't need to touch them. You don't need to do anything.
Really?
He's like, you deliver the way you want to deliver, and it comes out authentically. And he's like, and that's the name of the game. Okay. He's like, it might not be perfect. He's like, there might be things that I could ask you to do differently, but he's like, but it's not you. He's like, I want you to be you on this record. I'm like, cool, done deal.
That is a huge compliment coming from Devin. Does it ever hurt or get sore?
Yeah, I'm tired right now. Yeah.
Okay.
It doesn't hurt, but it just gets tired.
I know, like some guys say like it really hurts. Like Jesse Leach keeps hurting it, but he went back to Melissa Cross.
Yeah.
And now he got it.
I saw Melissa once before when we were doing a record. I took a day off and went to see her when we were finishing up The Truth. It was cool. It was beneficial. And I used to do her warm-ups. Now I'm just like, I literally don't do shit. I get ready. I throw my show clothes on and I just walk on stage.
Just go for it.
Just go for it, dude.
Okay.
Grip it and rip it.
All right, so back to the random silly questions.
Yeah.
That was kind of silly.
Okay.
Number 2, weirdest fan experience.
God, so many of my fan experiences are just like perverted. What's a weird fan experience, Marta?
Okay, so the first weird fan experience was, I think it was on the Sick of It All tour. Brandon's my test because he remembers everything and I just vaguely remember it. Yeah. Okay. So I hadn't even been in the band that long. Like, not even 6 months.
Not even half a year yet. This is like the third tour you did.
And we're playing and we finish, I think. I think we'd finished. And we were in like, I don't know, Germany, like, or middle of Europe, not anywhere that I'm obviously remembering. And some like young kid with blonde hair, it might have been somewhere in Scandinavia even, runs up on stage and like hugs me and says, I'm your biggest fan. Does that ring a bell
Was
at all?
that the last time you ever saw him? Which sucks because if it was,
Probably.
that means he was lying to you.
He looked like a little kid. Like he looked like a teenager. I was a teenager, but he looked like a younger teenager.
God.
And I like didn't even know what to say. So it was weird because like it wasn't our tour. I wasn't even in the band that long. And I was like, what is this child doing? Like, and he like had to like battle like barricade and like security because it wasn't like show over. It was like, no, there's like another, like the headliner or the next band or whatever the hell. And we were like opening and it was like, what are you doing? What? I think he just like copped to and just like jumped back down, or it was casual. He wasn't hurt, but I was like hugged him with like, what? Okay, thanks. I guess.
All of my fan experiences have to do with like sex and violence. It's either like,
or there were some weird. Yeah, there's a lot of weird people out there.
Yeah, like people in the front row would just want to go like punch to punch with me.
Yeah, that's true.
It was weird. Like back in the day, like dudes would just be like, punch me in the face, and I'd be like, all right, bye. Okay. You know, it's like weird like that, or like the dumbest thing a girl ever said to me was like, I bet you like you sing, and I'm just like, wow.
I guess.
I guess, man.
Yeah.
I take it as You have
whatever
daddy
you
issues.
think.
Whatever you think. No, all of mine's just weird. I'm trying to think of like weird fan experiences. Like, like
We think we signed babies.
we signed babies.
Yeah.
before. We signed mufflers. We signed cars.
Yeah.
We signed phones. We signed this. Somebody had me sign, like on their iPhone, like had me sign their like screen.
Oh, and make it a wallpaper or something?
No,
think-
they just had me sign their phone.
I think that.
And then I tried to wipe it off. It was like a mag marker, and it wouldn't come off. I'm like, dude, you realize like you're gonna have to like get like some crazy cleaning thing to get this
I think
off.
the muffler though,
The muffler was saying
and
weird experience.
kids, but that's you know that's gonna wash off.
Same tour, different show that she's talking about. We played Denmark, and we played this weird hippie anarchist commune. And when we were playing, remember those people that were just like making out and getting naked
Yeah.
in the front row?
That's always a good time when people are like pretty much ready to do it, and you're at a show,
Yeah.
not even in the bathroom,
Yeah.
and you're gonna, whoa.
Also, one couple started making out like hardcore, and the security guard stopped it. He's like, no.
That's awesome.
He's like, part of it too. No, he's like, no.
That's awesome.
I guess he saw it going somewhere else.
That's pretty funny.
Crazy.
What's the third one?
Third one is best tour prank you've been on or seen or.
Okay. Well, I'm going to say the best tour prank that I could remember had nothing to do with bleeding through, even though we chose sides on the matter.
Mm-hmm.
When we did a tour a long time ago with Most Precious Blood and Hope Conspiracy, they had a little van war where they were just hiding in each other's vans. You guys remember this? And then HopeCon put a fish like in their dashboard.
Oh.
And it was just like their van smelled like it was brutal. Like it was
Yeah.
like that was like the biggest band prank. That was the band prank I can remember.
When we were on tour with Death by Stereo, did we have like a fireworks shooting off?
Yeah, we did a lot of Death by Stereo.
Like they were in front of us and they were shooting fireworks at us. Roman candles at each other. Yeah, on the freeway while driving. That felt maybe inappropriate. Yeah.
No, Wami was shooting them off.
I thought we were shooting them off too. Yeah.
That is crazy. Wow. You can't do that here in Jersey.
Probably not. But you,
Can't do that from anywhere.
nope.
Yeah. Well, I know. I feel like upstate New York is a little more like the blind eye kind of thing, but here it's really really strict.
Man, Jersey's weird, dude.
Yeah.
You know that, right? Like
Yes.
California's weird, but Jersey's like really weird.
Yes.
Like we've always really loved Jersey, and we still do. It's like, it's just the weirdest state.
There's a lot of characters here.
There's
Just a lot of characters. Like I feel like we're in Santa Cruz,
But we're not.
but we're not in Santa Cruz. It's just it's the characters.
There's just characters. There's so much personality out here, which is awesome. But it's just like I guess it's because like where we live is a big transplant state.
Yeah.
Okay. And I kind of feel like Jersey in a way is kind of like a transplant state too. Like, and it's just like, but it's so opposite. And we live in a beachy area, and we're in a beachy area right now. And it's, dude, the differences are like crazy. Like it's so different.
Yeah.
And it's just, I don't know, man. It's crazy.
Well, a lot of people say that we have more like. If you walk down the street, you're gonna see way more bizarre like people.
That's what I'm saying.
And like,
there's just there's characters here.
and everyone's like in a rush. And
Yes. You know what? It reminds me of Southern California, but just different. Yeah.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Well, that was a random silly question segment.
Cool.
You guys nailed it.
Thank you.
Pretty awesome. Any upcoming plans you guys want to mention before we go?
I don't know. Hopefully we'll figure out a way to come back soon, within a year or so, or maybe something like that. New records,
There we go.
new stuff, new music.
I think you guys would kill it at this bar called Dingbats. in
Dingbats?
Jersey. Yeah, Dingbats in Clifton, New Jersey.
Love it. Love the name.
Soulfly came back there, and it was packed. It was
Yeah.
kind of like the same size as Kingsland.
Yeah, cool.
But so when Soulfly came there, you know how big they are.
Yeah, they're
Like,
big.
you couldn't move.
That's awesome.
So I feel like you guys would be like, killer
That's
there.
cool.
It'd be so much fun.
It's
But,
awesome, man.
Thank you for taking the time out to
No
do
worries.
this, man.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Appreciate it.
Devil breath.